Today, we're going to talk about financial discipline. We're going to talk about 2 mindsets that you can adopt and 3 actions you can start taking today to develop financial discipline. Financial discipline is really not complicated. Most people just don't know what it is, so they don't take care of their finances the way that they should, right? So let's talk about what those are. Let's jump right in. So the 2 mindset shifts that we can adopt. 1, quite simple, living 1 to 2 years behind your income. So if you are someone who drives your income, if you're, you work with us and you drive your own income, that's a really important thing to do, living 1 or 2 years behind your income. But then there's also a lot of people that get raises every year or whatnot, right? So the key thing here is I was talking, one of my clients is a teacher, and she's like, yeah, I'll be getting a raise for the next 8 years or something like that. And so it was like, great. So we talked about this concept together, right? So every time she gets a raise, the extra money, it goes straight into savings, straight invested for the future. And then she continues to live on last year's income and so on and so forth, right? So the first real challenge is the first year. After that, it keeps increasing year by year, right? And then you keep saving money. So that's really simple concept, but one that is massively underutilized. Okay, the second mindset that we can adopt is net worth mindset. Okay, so the average person that I sit down with needs to save an additional 4 to 6, maybe I would say probably actually $2,000 to $8,000 extra a month to be able to retire at the lifestyle that they want and at the age that they want. $2,000 to $8,000, like that's a lot, right? So we need to start really planning for the future. We need to take it into our own hands and put these 3 actions into play, and so that we can develop a little bit of financial discipline and that we can set ourselves up for the future, right? Most people cannot save an extra $2,000 to $8,000 a month on their current income, so that most people need a second stream of income, right? So that's an interesting thing. And the other thing too, if that doesn't, convince you, so if you don't know your financial independence number, that's something that we help our clients find out. So make sure that you connect with me so that I can set you up. But I actually sat down with a client, and she was 70 years old. And she was one of the families that was left behind. And I had to tell her that financially, because no one ever told her, live 1 to 2 years behind your income, think about your net worth, prepare for the future, and then the 3 action steps that we're going to be talking about, the core foundations to financial discipline. I had to tell her, you're going to financially have to work till you're 80. That is I don't even know if physically it's possible, but that's what it is financially, right? And that's not okay. If 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, she would have learned these methods and put them into play, it'd be a very different story right now. So don't wait until it's too late, essentially, right? All right. So those are the mindsets. So living 1 to 2 years behind your income is a mindset that we need to take. It's also an action, and then thinking about net worth instead of just saving enough or just living in the moment. I think you can enjoy both. Once you master this, in my opinion, you can enjoy the moment and you can prepare for the future. It does not have to be either or. Okay. So the 3 actions that we can take are: 1, track your spending. Okay. In health, in any corporate world, everyone tracks things, right? If you don't track it, you don't know what's going on. If you look at nutrition, nutritionists, if you're looking at changing your eating habits and exercising, whatever, they want you to track everything. Okay, your exercise, your eating, all of it, right? So that's a really important thing to look. So track your expenses. If you're paying cash, then obviously you want to do it as you're spending it. But if it's all on cards, credit card, debit card, my recommendation is once a week, sit down, get yourself one of your favorite drinks at home. Maybe it's lemon water, maybe it's a tea, maybe it's a coffee, whatever it is. Maybe it's a glass of wine, and you sit down and you take, literally, if you do this weekly, it will take you a whole 10 minutes. I would say maybe even 5 to 15, okay, depending on how much you spent that week. But it's not hard to do once you do it regularly. Why once a week? daily is too much, right? And the longer you take between action, the harder it is to take action. So if you say, okay, I'm going to do it once a month, it's going to feel like such a burden to go back and do your whole month. And also, once you start implementing step number 2, which is planning and creating a structure for your money, once a month is too long, you're not going to be able to stay within the plan that you create. So weekly seems to be the sweet spot for that. Okay, so track your spending. If you want a sheet, I have created one for my clients. Very simple to follow. You can just drop a comment below and I will send it to you. Okay. Step number 2, it is structure and plan your spending, right? So AKA a budget. So there's usually 3 categories that we have. We obviously have our income, but then for the spending, we have wants, needs. Wants I also call play money, needs, which are essential, and then savings. Okay. So needs typically do not really shift too much. Specific times a year, there's things that come up. I'm noticing that May needs to have like a massive asterisk for next year, because even though I've been tracking my expenses for a while, I kind of forgot that May, there's just extra things with, yard work, and I have a pool and the opening of the pool, and there's stuff that I need that I just really wasn't expecting this year, right? So that's one thing. So planning, your needs typically don't change other than like some random months throughout the year, potentially. But when you track it, then you're able to predict, okay, next year in May, I need to plan for X, Y, Z, right? And then it doesn't take you by surprise. The other one that really does change is your wants, right? So with your wants, that's like anything other than essential needs. And this is the one that you really want to cap. You want to cap. I call this play money. And then we look at how much money you're bringing in, and we cap this amount at a place that will allow you to, 1, enjoy life right now, 2, save for the future at the same time. Okay. And then the savings / investing, or if you're not there yet and you need to do debt repayment, then that goes there too. So the structure that I typically look at is something like 50% of your income should be your needs, 30% could be your play money, and 20% could be your savings. There's wiggle room within there, right? If you're not spending that much and you want to save more, obviously you save more as your income grows. If you drive your own income, those are not the numbers you want to play with anymore. And you really want to adopt the living a year or 2 behind your income mindset at that point. And I can talk to you about how to do that. It's pretty simple, but it's a very awesome thing to do. And then, but with the play money and the savings, that could also be 25-25 instead of 30-20, or it could be 20-30 or whatever, right? So there's different things. If people can't afford it and they have debt, or they're maybe in their mid 30s and they've yet to save for retirement, then I'm going to recommend a little bit more towards savings than play money, just even short term, to be able to kind of increase our savings so that it can work longer for us, right? Because time and compound interest is magical, right? So that is that. I'm going to talk about the lack of financial discipline. Lack of financial discipline is actually regular, unplanned spending. Okay, so if you can track it and plan and create a structure for it, the better, right? With the wants, I typically look at it at the beginning of the month and I say, okay, these are all the things that I want to buy this month as extra things. And I plan it out and I say, which ones can I do? Which ones can't I do? And then do I have any wiggle room for just spontaneous things or not, right? So we can talk more about that. I go deep into this with clients, but just an overview for you today. And then the third one is to make saving automatic. So if you know automatically, yes, I'm able to do 20%, then make it automatic. Make it so that it's like pack is what we call it, but predetermined amount that comes out of your account, every 2 weeks or something like that, so that it's automatic. The odds of doing it manually are 4-1 against you, right? So if you want to save, which you should, and if you don't think you should, then we need to have a conversation for you to understand the value here. But that is a really big one. So making it automatic. Okay. So those are kind of the tangible things. Let's just kind of briefly finish off on, some of the other things. Why do you want financial discipline? Okay, financial discipline, it really enables you to achieve your goals that you're going after, right? So whether it's buying a house, saving for kids' education, saving for retirement, whatever, anything, saving for a trip, like, you will not be able to make any of that happen without some discipline. Okay, it empowers your confidence, right? So if you start to stack wins, this is something I talk about all the time in business and in finance, right? If you start to stack wins, meaning, wow, I've been doing it weekly tracking for the last 2 months. Awesome, you're stacking your wins, right? I put a budget, a limit on my wants, and I've been following it every month for the last 3 months. Awesome, you're stacking your wins, and all of a sudden you start thinking, I'm actually good with money. It's not really hard to do. I just didn't have the right information and the right tools before, right? And then it helps you to overcome the fear of the future. I mean, I've been in those positions where you're financially stressed and it's just not pleasant at all, right? So financial discipline is really self-discipline. And it's the number one factor, according to Robert Kiyosaki, which is the author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. It's the number one factor that determines and that separates really the middle class, the rich, and the poor, which is pretty crazy, right? So here's the thing. Money is not necessarily the goal. The value comes from the dreams the money helps you achieve, okay? The blessings that you have in your life and that you can give to other people. It's okay if it's your family as well. That's totally fine, right? But here's the thing. And I want to explore with you, like, what's one of your dreams? Maybe let me know below, right? And recently I got a chance to do one of our dreams with my daughter, and it was a gym reno. Okay, so we wanted to renovate the gym. She's right into gymnastics, and I wanted a space where it wasn't just adults that could go there and work out or exercise, move their bodies, where she could learn that, yeah, we want to move our bodies regularly, daily, and make it a space for her to actually enjoy as well. So it's a wellness space. We got to do a renovation, and it was the planning with her, seeing the excitement in her eyes when we were doing the shopping and the planning and the structure and all of it, right? That's what's awesome, is to see the excitement, the wonder in the people's eyes when you get to experience these things together. It's not about the money, but it's what it can give you, right? And then John Maxwell, one of his quotes, he says that small disciplines repeated with consistency every day leads to great achievement, gained slowly over time, right? So I can tell you that financial discipline, from my experience and the experience of many of my clients, is that it brings you more happiness, more joy, more peace of mind. It actually helps your relationships as well, right? When you improve one area of your life, all areas of your life get impacted. And the lack of it, I mean, maybe you've experienced it too, and it's anxiety and stress, and it's always there in the back of your mind or in the front of your mind, right? It's panic, maybe it's frustration, it's fear, it's unhappiness, it's maybe loss of sleep, maybe it's even depression, shame, which is a huge one, right? But I mean, if you never learned what it's all about, we never learned in school financial discipline or financial literacy, it's not okay that we're experiencing shame around this because we just don't have the tools, right? But this can change, and it can actually exhaust us. Like, it's exhausting to be stressed about finances, right? It can damage relationships too, right? So don't let this stuff get out of hand. If it has, that's okay. I've been there. So many of us have been there, but it's time to maybe look at this video as a time to shift it, right? So work hard, save money, build towards your future. You will be so pleased with yourself. Those wins, like, don't underestimate the value of those wins, because once you start doing the tracking, the planning, and the automatic savings, right, or debt repayment, whichever it is for you, you start being so freaking pleased with yourself, and things start to change in all areas of your life, right? So if you don't know where to start, comment below and I'd love to help you. On the one hand, There's two things that I really do. On the one hand, I teach people how to become independent advisors and to build incredible teams. But on the other hand, we help families, individuals, and business owners to create a solid foundation for their financial futures, right? So if you want a complimentary personal plan, please reach out below, send me a comment. Have a great day. Until next time, don't forget to subscribe.